Death Star approaching. Estimated time to fire range.
'Lost. Where have you been? I got a bad feeling about this.
Welcome, listeners, to episode 292 of the Skyhoppers podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ben, and I am joined by my lovely co-hosts, Cole and Dakota.
Thank you.
You just barely made it. Dakota,
I know.
Dakota just
Perfect
barely
timing.
got up to get a drink as soon as I started playing the intro. Comes back just in time. It's almost like you planned it. But then again, if I had changed the intro or cut the intro down like I've been meaning to for the last, since we started this YouTube business, and every week I'm painfully aware of how long our intro is. And I'm just like, are people tuning out before we even get through the intro of this podcast?
I think it's a really good length because most podcast apps have a skip 30 seconds button. And a lot of the times when I do that to skip through podcasts intros, I then have to
Go back.
remind myself, oh wait, their intro is not 30 seconds long. So then you have to go back. Since ours is like 30 seconds long, people can hit that button.
Oh, I think it's longer than that. It feels I like it. Don't get me wrong. It does feel interminable. I'm sitting here just staring at Cole, just waiting for it to end. But anyway, we're back. I want to just up front say that I'm not promising anything, but listeners, I think we've solved our inconsistent recording and release schedule problems. At least for the foreseeable future, we have a plan. We have a plan now, if nothing else. So we're still quite kind of figuring out what it's all going to look like, but I think we'll be a little more consistent going forward. So thank you for bearing with us. If you have, if you left, well, maybe you'll come back someday. Yeah, maybe you'll come back someday. But anyway, I'm glad we're back. We've kind of conveniently, as far as Bad Batch goes, I don't want to jump straight into it, but I feel like we've kind of conveniently missed episodes that didn't have a ton to talk about anyway, so it kind of we just got really lucky that today's episodes were really good and had a ton of meat, and the other ones were pretty light. But I guess Dakota, we talked about our last episode. Did we talk about the racing one? Episode 4?
No. Maybe? No.
Okay.
I don't think I was on the one where we talked about the racing one.
Cole and
I think it was just me and you.
Cole
we
and I
talked about the racing one and the Indiana Jones one.
Right, the Indiana Jones one is the one that I can say that I did not really like all that much.
And I liked that one better than the racing one.
No,
the pod racing one did nothing for me.
I just think
I
was really taken. I was really taken by Teo. I think really liked him. Just he was a very funny character. But that's all in the past. The Indiana Jones one wasn't great. The one last week with Gunji I thought was actually pretty good, especially for having a character that I was like, oh great, someone else survived the purge, right? I think Cole and I think we talked about that on Bro Skywalkers, that I have yet to cut that out and make it an episode, but maybe I'll do that before this one goes out, hopefully. But we talked about that one. That I ended up liking that one much more than I thought I would when I saw Gunji in the trailer. You know, I was like, okay. But he kind of
I didn't really care about. I mean, okay. Conceptually, I didn't care about seeing Gunji. Emotionally, I did care about seeing Gunji because every single time we see a new Jedi that survived Order 66, my heart just stops, I guess. I don't know, but I'm horrified and sad and also excited and my heart breaks for them every single time that we see
You're
a
right.
new one, and that happened with Gunji. Even though
Yeah.
I do not care about him,
You don't
Yeah.
care about Gunji?
I don't care. I mean, now I do. I didn't. This episode made me care about
That
Gunji,
arc's pretty good. I
but
thought.
it
I always liked
was.
that arc.
That arc is
Well,
okay.
wait,
Yeah.
the one in Clone Wars
Yeah, the lightsaber construction one.
didn't like it.
You
I
did,
mean,
wow.
That one,
surprised.
the lightsaber construction part is fine. It's the part where they end up in the circus that I don't like.
Yeah, and maybe that's the only part I remember. Like, that's
I
one.
remember the building the lightsabers, finding the crystals, and Hondo. And I'm like, this is a pretty good arc.
And
Maybe
the
the circus one is the bad part, but
I will be interested when we get to it on our rewatch because I don't think I ever watched it more than the one time.
because it's got David
because I didn't
Tennant.
like
I was
it.
gonna
Is
say
the-
the
is the
doctor's
droid.
there. Ten's
He
there.
is.
Yeah, David
Yeah.
Tennant is the doctor. And I think he got nominated for an Emmy for that.
He
or
did.
something.
He did.
I had no idea.
Mhm.
See, I already am sure I'm gonna like it more next time we see it.
Anyway, Gunji, he's all right in my book. I think it might have been Mogo in our chat, maybe. I don't know. I think it was interesting just to have a Jedi who's not trying to hide. He's not trying to save the galaxy. He's not a Cal Kestis. He's not a Kanan Jarrus. He is going home because he is in the fortunate position to know what planet he's from, if nothing else. So he's like, I'm going to protect my people, and that's it. And that's just like, still a very Jedi thing. It's not novel, but it's different enough that I was like, cool. Mogo says #not my doctor. Ten's not.
Okay, I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to break
David
into
Tennant,
the
I'm
Star
assuming.
Wars with a Doctor Who discussion.
Listen, I've not watched Doctor Who in like seriously in like 10 years. If David Tennant is not your doctor at least a little bit, I don't know who is.
I'm really curious.
Yeah,
because,
that's
like, I don't ever call him my favorite, but I would never say not my doctor.
no, that's kind of where I'm at. Anyway, sorry, this is not a Doctor Who
isn't
podcast.
the definition of not my doctor is like, your favorite. If it's not your favorite, it's not your doctor. And that's
I
the way that
know,
works.
because I would never. I still claim David Tennant, even if he's not my favorite.
I
And
thought
that's
nine.
just the way I understand the phrasing on that. Is like, your favorite one is the one you consider your doctor.
Okay, I will say
Hmm.
we frequently.
My doctor is the doctor from Voyager, but
I was gonna say our diversions are frequently into Star Trek, but I don't know if we've gone into Doctor Who. But of course, Cole
I
has
don't
to
think we
bring it.
have. That's
I have
pretty
nothing to contribute to Doctor Who.
I really liked it there for a while, but anyway, not a Doctor Who podcast. Not gonna let myself go that
Yes.
way. There's too much to talk about with Bad Batch. But before we even get to that, Cole? I'm assuming you did since you posted it. Dakota, did you get a chance to watch the 9 minutes of Jedi Survivor gameplay?
Nope. Tell me about it.
Cole, what'd you think of it? Before I go,
I mean,
what'd
I
you
think it looks good. The gameplay itself, like whoever was playing it wasn't, inspiring in their performance. And it was a really weird, like weirdly edited. It's like it wasn't even like 9 minutes of like just a chunk. It was edited, and then some of the places I'm like, why did you choose to put this into this cut
Yeah.
of gameplay? It's like literally just like some walking in some
Yeah.
places.
I will say
like,
that
Very strange. But
I
yeah.
I watched it a couple times. The first time through, I will say I was so excited to see more of it because it looks like, for the most part at least, and maybe they said this somewhere, I don't know, we're not gonna have like a Metroid style, you start with all of you have like a small brief section of the game at the front with all of your abilities or whatever, and then you lose a bunch of them.
Yeah, it
which
doesn't
is-
seem like that.
It doesn't seem like that. It seemed like Cal could do pretty much everything that he did and then some from Fallen Order. I was just excited to see everybody. I thought it's like just seeing Cal and BD1. I'm like, this is great. And the second time through, I watched it with a more critical lens and was just like, not critical, like as though I saw something wrong with it. But Cole, I kind of agree with you. It's like, the player wasn't amazing, but
Like this is what y'all chose to show off. I mean, maybe that's all they were allowed to show. I don't know, but it
Right.
just felt really strange.
I thought finding something, a cosmetic that wasn't a poncho, I thought that was cool.
That was definitely in there on purpose. Like, we know there's not just ponchos.
Yeah,
this
we know.
time.
We know it's more than ponchos. The game looks fantastic. I don't know. It's one of those things that I think I've said this before, and this is not a unique opinion, if it's more of the same and then some with another great story, I think it's going to be another great Star Wars game. Look at Jedi Knight 2 and 3. Like, those games play very similarly. The lightsaber combat in 3 is more fleshed out than it was in 2, but they're both, Quake Engine games. They're both pretty much identical in terms of how they look and how they play. But I think a lot of people like Jedi Academy almost more, just because it's another, I don't know. I just think it doesn't have to be radically different for it to be another great game, is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, it's like, it needs to be more of the same with a little bit more added on and a new story to it.
Yeah.
That's really all I need out of it.
And that was kind of, I don't even want to say it was a bummer, because they were very upfront that it's like, this is gameplay. This is not a story trailer. But there was no story at all. I mean, basically they were like, you're on Kobo, Cal crashes here. And
yeah, that's literally, and then we find out, that whoever the bad guys you're fighting here have repurposed some battle droids,
Right.
and you're fighting, and you see nearly every type of droid.
I was gonna say there's
ones and super
V2s,
battle droids and commandos. Was there a destroyer even?
I didn't see
I
a
don't know if
destroyer.
there's a destroyer.
I didn't see a destroyer.
Basically everything else, I'm like, it's cool. You're seeing everything. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, the droids look cool as well. Very obviously Matthew Wood battle droids, which is funny because they're in Clone Wars. The battle droids are there for comedic effect pretty much always. So it's not that Matthew Wood's performance is bad, but when I hear Matthew Wood as a battle droid, I think, oh, Clone Wars. Oh, these battle droids are not to be taken seriously. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of a weird disconnect where, this is, if Fallen Order is anything to go by, I hate to make the Dark Souls comparison, but they are similar in that if you're not paying attention, pretty much any random enemy in this game can take you out if you're not paying attention. So I'm assuming the battle droids are probably the same way in this one.
Wouldn't it be strange to get murdered by a battle droid?
I know.
It's it's especially going to happen to me.
I was gonna say, are you looking forward to playing? Because you did never finish Jedi Survivor or Fallen Order, did you?
I did not ever finish playing it. I did pick it up a few weeks ago, though. I don't know. I don't know if I've mentioned that.
No, I don't think so.
But I played for a couple hours and had a good time. And I died a lot because I'm still not good at it.
It's a hard game. It's a hard
and
game.
I'm not good at video games as it is.
It's a hard game.
These goats killed me a bajillion times because and it was rough because I just picked the game up and I'm like, I don't remember what anything does, and there are these 5 goats trying to kill me, and I eventually got past that. So
Persevere.
things are looking up.
Glad to hear it. Speaking of goats, I just know, there was a not insignificant contingent of people who kind of had issue with the fact that Cal was a Jedi, but was killing native fauna so wantonly in the first game.
You have to.
You do.
They
You do have to
murder you.
But he is like gruesomely cutting the heads off of these
Yes.
these animals on Kobo are, and I'm just like, this almost feels pointed. Like you're trying to get back
because
at these
there's
people
one
or
is like
something.
literally like some like bird thing drinking in the water, and he just walks up and just shoots.
It's like,
Whoa,
what?
that was unnecessary.
And it's
Wow.
like,
I don't even know if that one was aggressive.
And see, the thing is, like, there's a part of me that's just like, most of me is like, it's a video game. They need enemies. Star Wars has always had a tenuous relationship with video games in terms of how seriously you're supposed to take every element of them. But on the other hand, I'm just like, Cal probably didn't have to kill all these guys. Like Jedi Knight had a mind trick ability where, you could kind of like, you could non-violently go past enemies. They could probably do something like that. But I like Mogo saying, if it's anything like Fallen Order, I don't need enemies to die. Yeah, I did so many of those like sliding sections where I would just like completely biff the jump and just slide right off the end of the path or whatever.
Oh, and there I go.
Yeah, the the environment is not particularly kind in these games, but I'm really looking forward to this one, and especially now with my shiny new Xbox that I picked up.
I'm
I
looking
will-
forward to it existing so that one day I will play it.
It's gonna be good. I think I'm really hopeful. Especially because people are still really hard on EA. EA's kind of turned it around. I think the new gaming boogeyman has become Activision Blizzard, and I think I'm kind of okay with that. Just because, I mean, look at it. Like, the Battlefront 2 campaign was short, but I thought it was good. Squadrons, same. Squadrons, I think, was really well received, and people were really upset whenever it wasn't being supported, more than, like, a year or 2 years after release. But it's like EA's got some studios under them that are doing good work. Fallen Order was people who, just not even a great Star Wars game, just a great game. People really like that, and if this is more of that, then the last 3 games EA's put out have been pretty good, pretty well received. So I think it might be time to reevaluate. Now, granted, they are still EA. I'm not saying we forgive them of every transgression, but I'm just saying that maybe they've learned.
You can start being a little less cynical about it.
Yes,
A little bit less cynical.
I think. Because, hey, they learned their lesson. Diablo Immortal, I think, was worse than Battlefront 2 ever was. So, that is what it is. But anyway, yeah. Gameplay looks good. I look forward to just customizing my lightsaber. Honestly, now that I've done it at Galaxy's Edge, I just want to relive that. I want to relive that lightsaber building experience. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, looks good. Has anything else happened? We saw that we got the main.
There's actually been quite a bit of news. I don't know if y'all remember.
No.
Visions season 2.
Visions.
Oh,
Visions is coming out.
yeah.
Yes.
We got the full reveal of all the stuff for it. No
Give-
trailer or anything, but
No.
So excited.
And now
that was pretty cool.
you all were talking in Discord. Gendy Tartakovsky, a studio he is currently at, has one.
Yes.
Correct.
We
Doesn't
got
mean
people
he's
doing Primal.
okay.
Primal, yeah.
Doesn't mean he's doing it by any
No,
means.
but
But
still-
I saw that, and
It's
that
on the
was my
table?
immediate thought.
it's on the table. Okay. Surely, right?
Which studio is that? I'm not familiar with it.
I forget what the name is. If I had the list in front of me,
I've got the list here. So the studio's doing Visions season 2 or volume 2. We have Cartoon Saloon, Punk Robot, Mirror Studio, Aardman, Triggerfish, Dart. I don't know how to say this. Shitaigio. I'm gonna go with that. Studio LA Cachette, 88 Pictures, and El Greer Studios.
Okay.
yeah, that didn't help. That did not help me.
Yeah,
remember.
sorry.
Was it the mirror one?
No, that was the one that did Legend of Korra.
Oh, okay.
Which
Okay.
I am
So I'm very excited for them.
extremely
I'm like-
excited about that one.
that's that's top tier.
I will say
Yeah.
I was a little, I don't want to say bummed. I was definitely excited when they announced that Visions would be, more than just anime.
International. Mhm.
Yeah. But the more I kind of sit with it, I'm like, they'll probably do an anime one again. The anime one was cool. I liked it. So they'll
Mhm.
probably go back to it. So I'm
sure they will,
definitely
but,
much more
they're just
open to a
broadening.
different one. Yeah, for sure.
And they definitely said at Celebration that there's more anime projects being developed. So,
Um,
and
it's
I don't think they were
Studio
just
Laka
talking
Chat.
about Ghibli's little short.
yeah, right. That was
And we even got titles for all the episodes.
did we?
Oh, we did.
I didn't
yeah.
see that.
Yeah, I've got the StarWars.com article pulled up right now.
I don't know if you heard me, but it's La Cachette. That's
Like
the
a
one.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So, do you want me to go through the episode titles while I'm
Yeah, real
got
quick.
it up?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have Sith, Screecher's Reach, In the Stars, I Am Your Mother, Journey to the Dark Head, The Spy Dancer, The Bandits of Golak, The Pit, and Eo's Song.
I'm calling it now. That last one's gonna be my favorite. That one resonates with me. That's a called shot. That's gonna be my favorite.
Let's see. Journey to the Dark Head is the Studio Mirror one, so that's probably the one I'm the most looking forward to. The one I'm very, very interested in is Aardman's, just because Aardman is such a unique studio. Do you know anything about them, Ben?
No, you all seem to know so much about about animation studios. I've never heard of a single one of these.
Well, no, you know what Aardman is, even if you don't know it. They're the people that did Wallace and Gromit
Mhm.
and like those, like the claymation stuff.
You
What
what?
was that one called?
Wallace and Gromit.
No, what was
Oh,
the?
that's the I Am Your Mother.
Oh no!
Chicken Run. Chicken Run.
Yeah.
This is gonna be this
That's what I
one.
said. I'm very interested in what that's gonna be.
This one's okay. Another call shot. This one's gonna be my least favorite, but I'm not gonna hate it. It's gonna be the one.
Like it better than Tatooine Rhapsody.
Yes, it's gonna be the one that I'm like, this didn't need to exist, but at the same time, I think I'm glad that it does. You know, like it's. I don't know. That's funny. That's funny. I
Yeah,
had
it's wild, right?
had
that's
no
such,
idea.
Like, such a weird one to pull, but I'm very interested. And I wonder if it's going to be actual, if it's going to be stop motion or CG. I imagine it'll be CG, but
I'm
imagine if
looking at-
it's stop motion.
I'm on their site right now. Some of this animation they've got that looks kind of like, you know, a mix of stop motion and
Mhm.
CG, kind of going back and forth. Some of it's really gorgeous.
Yeah, dude, they're legit.
Yeah, I'm mostly kidding about that being my least favorite. I don't know. Like, I think I really don't know what to
No,
say
I'm gonna
about
call
any of
that
them.
shot. Also, that's gonna be your least favorite.
But
It's giving like Padme is Darth Vader vibes. So I feel like that's something that would
It's
be
just so-
made especially for you to hate.
it's just so hard that. You know what? I'd still like that over Tatooine Rhapsody, I think. Even though that one could theoretically... That one is, like, not even like a Infinities thing. That would theoretically could happen. But, I don't know. These things are just such a grab bag.
Mhm.
So, I don't know. Anyway, that's cool.
Oh, interesting. The one titled "The Pit" is being co-directed by Justin Ridge, who did some directing on Rebels and Clone Wars, which is interesting.
I was going to
and
say,
Avatar.
that's a familiar name to me.
Mhm.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else on Visions? I didn't forget that it was coming out, but I forgot we hadn't talked about it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I thought the news came out of nowhere, and we got a date. It's May the 4th, of course. You know,
Which, as I learned with Bad
Which is
Batch,
so soon.
I was gonna say it's not that far away because
Not
Bad
that
Batch
far off.
really that snuck up on me.
which I think May the 4th is a little bit later than they were originally planning, because I think they said spring last time. And May the 4th, is it still spring? Technically, I think of May as being summer.
It
but
is.
I guess that's not really.
Well, I guess it depends on where you live in the country. May
True.
in Bloomington.
It's spring.
Oh, guess it depends
May,
on.
or very
May can be
hot.
very nice or blazing hot.
Yeah. But real quick, Mando season 3, is that 8 episodes again?
Yes.
Well, it sounds like it's gonna be wrapping up about the time that Visions comes out.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Still don't quite know
News we got.
what.
We got a book
Oh.
announcement.
Which one?
Oh yeah, Crimson,
Crimson
Climb.
Climb.
Oh yeah, that was like yesterday.
Okay,
Yeah, that was really
I will.
recently.
I will say I'm a little bummed. I don't know why I thought it wouldn't be YA when it was E.K. Johnston.
Yeah, but it's like
Man.
it's
Okay.
E.K. Johnson. What'd you expect, man?
Well, okay. What happened was on Reddit. I saw somebody theorizing because E.K. Johnston had posted that there was news coming on Monday on Twitter, and people were speculating, oh, maybe this is the adult Sabe novel because apparently,
Oh, if only.
yeah, because apparently it's been said that like that story wouldn't be necessarily a young adult novel. That was going to be written in a book. Of course, that's authors talk, right? You know.
Mhm.
So I think that's why I conflated the two. I'm just like, oh, this is a Kira adult novel. But you know, still in, I love Solo. I love Kira. I'm still in for Crimson Climb. I won't even mention the fact that it's YA. I won't.
Yeah, it
Sorry.
does feel like it's another notch taken away from
is.
Solo 2 ever happening.
It is. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Though apparently it looks like the story it's telling is about Kira between when, like in the gap in Solo.
Which is not something they'd probably show in
Yeah.
that movie anyway. So
I feel like every story we get about any of that just like, okay, they're not.
What
gonna
I
do
would
this.
what I would really like to see, I think I'd really like to see getting up to Solo, having some sort of time gap, skipping Solo, because we all understand what happened in Solo. Maybe some, like bits and pieces that kind of fill in Kira's side of things, but then have Kira from after immediately following Dryden Voss being killed onto like where Kira is in the comics, like the head of Crimson Dawn, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna be it. There's only I don't know. Some of these YA novels are really long, so I guess I actually don't know how long the book could be.
I hope that it's not that, because like if it is all pre us seeing her again in Solo, then that leaves room for me to still hope for more
Okay,
Solo movies.
that makes sense.
So
You're right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I hope it stays in just like young Kira.
Like basically just like picks up where Han leaves her
Mm-hmm.
and goes up to where she ends up in Solo, probably.
Yeah,
Like
probably.
or
That
where
makes
Han
sense.
meets up with her again.
That
maybe.
would make sense.
Maybe with like an epilogue that's like
Mm-hmm.
like the conversation with Maul or something.
Yeah, which is would be a very E.K. Johnston move.
Very
I
much
feel
like kind of like how Master and Apprentice,
Right.
jumps forward to Obi-Wan post Phantom Menace, kind of.
Right.
And whichever Queen's book was first, I can't remember. It
Mhm.
jumps forward to her
Shadow?
funeral at the end.
One way or
I
the
can't
other.
remember the
I know.
order of those titles.
One way or the other. I'm very
Shadow,
excited.
Peril, Hope.
Yes, I'm very excited. One way or the other. I just, having just coming off of finishing Most Wanted, I'm itching for more. So very excited. Very excited. Mogo asked in chat if this book will stay canon. I sincerely hope so. See,
We
the
shall
thing is, we haven't really had an opportunity for something told in this Solo kind of chunk of the timeline. We haven't really had much of an opportunity for it to be canonized because a lot of people haven't really touched that movie outside of its release window. Like the lead up, and then it's been kind of radio silent on that. So I don't think we have to worry too much about it. I'm not super worried. But I'm just glad people are still paying attention to Kira, because I feel like she coming out of Solo is the character that Han is Han, right? We knew who Han was.
Hey, it's Han.
It's Han, right? We knew who Han was. So coming out of Solo, Kira was the character I think I was most interested in. Speaking of Solo, this is something I think I've even seen it before. It's definitely been around for a long time, since its pre-sequel trilogy. I saw it on Reddit, and I posted it in our Skyhoppers Discord. The EU authors being asked by some outlet what they want to see, maybe it was StarWars.com, wanting to see or asking what they wanted to see from the sequel trilogy. I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Matthew. Is that his name? Matthew Reeves? Michael Reeves.
Michael Reeves.
Yeah, maybe it was Michael Reeves.
Say,
The only Matthew I know is Stover.
yeah,
Yes.
and he was on there too, so I thought you were.
I will say,
gonna say-
Matthew Stover had some ideas I didn't like that much.
Yeah,
he had some like.
I don't know if I read all this stuff.
I didn't like it.
No, I don't remember specifically what it was. I'll find it whenever somebody else is talking. But he said some stuff. I'm like, Stover, what are you talking about? You're normally so good. What are you talking about? But someone, I think it might have been Michael Reeves, mentioned that like in a post Return of the Jedi world, they'd like to see Lando as Chancellor.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
it was him.
and I'm like,
Genius.
that's Michael Reeves as usual, coming out of nowhere, giving me the thing I didn't know I wanted.
Yeah, and I read that, and okay, so I definitely remember disagreeing with Matthew Stover now because I was expecting to disagree with Michael Reeves, and then he came out of nowhere with that brilliant idea, and Matthew Stover was the one whiling. And
I don't remember.
my favorite part though was
Tim
Timothy
Zahn
Zahn saying that J.J. Abrams would not understand Thrawn.
Yeah, it's such a good quote.
and see,
accurate.
and I think it's funny because I just imagine Cole waking up every morning and being like, I'm going to draw strength from the fact that Timothy Zahn said that again today. I'm going to draw more.
Keeps me going every morning. Instead of drinking coffee, that's what I do. I just read the quote. It's my mantra.
I also love that Aaron Alston, when asked what he hopes to see from Star Wars 7 through 9, his first line is, could I see screenplay by Aaron Alston? No? Well, barring that. And then goes on to describe that he wants to see, like, non-Jedi characters. And I'm like, dude, could you be any more on brand right now? You're being funny. You're talking about not Jedi characters. You want Wraith Squad. You want, like, if there's a spy or special ops element, you want the Wraiths to get a nod. And it's sad that, like, literally none of this happened from any of these authors. But there's Troy Denning being a little, a little over the top. Drew Karpyshyn wanted to see something from the Old Republic, and I'm like, you also being on brand. Those are the only stories that you've written. But I don't know. I think it was it's a fun little thing. It's in the EU subreddit. It's not hard to find. I'm sure you can find it.
Another slight little tangent that is related, but is still not Bad Batch, is that I've now read all 4 of the Rogue Squadron books, and wow, are they amazing.
They're so good. They're so good.
True, like, even hearing people talk about how great they are, I did not expect to love them as much as I do, but wow.
That's I remember kind of going into the same way, being like, okay, are these actually that good? And they do.
And yes, they are.
I did think it was, so I guess we'll get into a little
so much about all of the characters.
Corran Horn is the worst character you've ever met, but somehow you love him. I
adore that man.
I don't understand how he is just the worst person, and yet I want to see him succeed. What is that? It was not Michael Reeves that suggested the Lando Chancellor.
Oh, who was it?
I'm still looking. But anyway, talk more. Which was your favorite Rogue Squadron book?
Oh, I think the Krytos Trap, probably.
Ugh, it's so gross.
Yeah, well, they talk about it more grossly in Back to War. That was the part that I was really like, ooh, everything's melting. I think that one was my favorite, but also I read that one and Back to War back to back.
Right.
So I could be conflating them. But all 4 of them were just really, really solid, and I have no complaints.
Yeah, they are really good. Of course, you're kind of preaching to the choir with me, and especially Cole. They are some of the best that Legends has to offer. Rogue Squadron is definitely one of my favorite Star Wars books, full stop. I love that book. I've read it like 4 times at this point, I think. I cannot find whoever it was that said Lando should be Chancellor.
No.
It was not Michael Reeves. But anyway, I'm glad you read them. I'm glad you read them.
I don't see what y'all have a problem with though. Matthew Stover's quote. It doesn't seem bad to me.
The one thing that I just skimmed over that really aged like milk from him was, I can't imagine them making these movies without George Lucas being heavily involved.
That is funny.
It's like,
he's like, yeah, Lucas would still be involved heavily, obviously. But
no, and it's like
But his first quote though was like, it's like, I imagine Luke going into like a Obi-Wan Yoda like hermit role. I'm like, he called it.
He did.
Let me go look. I don't remember what I had such an issue with.
Well, he said he imagined a scene where there's like a bunch of kids have been kidnapped by the bad guys, and then Luke comes in to rescue them.
Oh, that's what it was. Luke Skywalker,
like, I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you. I'm like, dude, that sounds great. That sounds like fun.
It feels like it's so fan servicey, and that's what I think I didn't like about it.
And that's the thing.
Where did you post it?
It's in the main chat.
Okay.
it feels like something Stover would have written in one of his books, and it would have been great the way he wrote it. You know?
It does. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm going crazy. It was I don't know who was
If
who was
done
that
by
wanted-
J.J. Abrams, that would have sucked.
Yeah, I
but,
think
you
I think you're probably right.
I cannot find it. I don't know what you're talking
Someone
about.
also said that like they didn't. It might have been Tim Zahn. Someone said like they don't want
Oh,
to see
yes.
they don't want to see the same themes rehashed. And
Mhm.
I was like, oh, rough. I don't know. It's funny how if you are familiar with Legends in the EU, you can read through these and absolutely. The Stover is the only one that
And-
kind of stood out to me, but Cole, I guess you're right. Like if we're looking at like Shadows of Mindor Stover, that seems to fit a lot better than like
Mhm.
Traitor Stover, and even that
Yeah,
can be a
yeah.
little on the nose at times. So, you know,
I love that Luceno's like, well, if they're not gonna do Sith, they should do Yushin Vong.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
cool because he didn't even write. Well, yeah, he did. He wrote the Han Solo ones, kind of at the beginning. That's right.
hmm
Some of the weaker ones, if we're being honest.
Yeah,
Though I
Yeah,
think those
they-
were his first Star Wars.
they are. They
novels,
were his
so
first. His yeah,
Gotta give him a little bit of a pass.
yeah, because he also wrote the Unifying Force, which is
Mhm.
you know very good, and then Plagueis being what it is. People love that book too, so he definitely kind of made his. He just needed to get his feet wet. This is driving me crazy. I'm done looking. Someone said
I'll
that Lando
find it.
should be. Someone said Lando should be Chancellor, and I thought it was great. And
I think my main issue was just how off he was about George Lucas's involvement, but
that
also
hurt.
talking about Cade Skywalker. Like that's
See, I know very little about Cade Skywalker.
yeah, me
so-
too.
well, it's just very far away. Like no, they're not gonna go 120 years out.
Well,
I think it's silly. That's a silly idea.
I kind of think I think that you're right that they wouldn't, especially if George Lucas was involved. But I still think that could be a really interesting conceit for a story to begin with. Oh my god. I'm closing the tab. It's driving me nuts. Michael Reeves is on brand by saying that he wants Jax Pavin and I5 to show up though. So anyway, Reddit's good for once. Like I said, like I told all y'all, just don't go read the comments because they're pretty much exactly what you think they would be from the Expanded Universe subreddit, and I think we can avoid that. But anyway, is there anything else before we get into Bad Batch? I feel like we're
I think we can get into Bad Batch now. It turns out there was a lot to talk about this week.
you've missed as many episodes as we have recently. I think it
Well,
just
and we just
backs
kind of had
up.
like a bunch of news all of a sudden out of nowhere, even though Celebration is like a month away.
Mm-hmm. It was John Jackson Miller, Ben.
Not shocking. I love John Jackson Miller. Not shocked that he said something I agree with.
Mhm.
That's another one of those books, Cole. I'm wondering if enough time has passed for me to choose Knight Errant for us to read on the podcast since you've read it last. I know you've read it more recently.
It's been a while now,
But it's
so
been
I
too
feel
long.
like
It's
feel
been
like
too
it's
long since
definitely-
I've gone back to it. And
it's definitely totally
really,
a valid
really,
choice.
really.
I don't think I have that one.
It's not one that's gonna jump out at you. You know, like you kind of have to. I feel like even I had to go out of my way to buy it. And I think I read it from the library. I read it from the library first, and then bought it afterward. But it's
very interesting.
It is. It's really good. It's like it exists in its own little spot in the timeline. For those who don't know, it's like 2000 BBY roughly. So it's like after Revan and Malik, but like before Darth Bane. So it's in this weird era of like, well, there's a Sith Empire and there's a Republic and they're at war kind of, but the Sith are all fighting each other. It's very weird, but very cool all the same. Comics are good too. But again, John Jackson Miller wrote those too, so no shocks there. That's enough about Knight Errant, though. These Bad Batch episodes were meaty, I think.
Funky.
Chunky. Cole, you said it best when we first got on. They turned Republic Commando into 2 episodes of TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously not quite the same, but I knew I was hooked on this episode as soon as well, you said it was Cade and Slip
Flip.
started talking at the beginning.
Mhm.
I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to look away. These are
Yeah.
clones talking about the uprising.
Yeah, it is riveting.
It
like,
is. It was.
start to
Very good
finish.
episodes.
It was so good. And then you think you're led into believing that, like, okay, they're leaving and they've got targets on their backs and Crosshair's gonna shoot them. It's Crosshair, right? It's Crosshair. It's Crosshair. It's like, no, it's not
Crosshair.
It's not Crosshair. Who is it? I don't know. And it was one of those things where I felt like I'd be kind of underwhelmed. It's hard because I don't want to spoil things for Republic Commando, but since Obroa Skywalker's is part of the Skyhoppers
Family.
expanded universe, I'm going to assume, even if you're not, I'm going to assume that you're listening to that at the same time. So there will be some slight tangential Republic Commando spoilers, I think, probably in this episode.
A lot
but-
of similar themes and such going on
Yes.
here, for
Yes.
sure.
But so anyway, Cole, you were high on this episode. I was. Dakota, you in the same boat. This is this first
yes.
episode. This one, the first one was called The Clone Conspiracy.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say that a two-part episode in the age of a two-part episode felt kind of weird. I don't know, in the age of like streaming but they're still dropping it weekly. I don't know. Did anyone else feel a little weird? It feels just a little
No.
not bad weird. I was just like, why is this why isn't this just like a long mid-season episode, you know? I don't fully understand.
Yeah, I see. I didn't think about that at all, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it definitely does not affect my enjoyment or anything. It's just a question I have.
Well,
Like,
they
since
still feel like separate episodes, even if
they
they
do,
are
you're right. They
you
do.
know, building off each other. It to me it reminds me of the similar like 2-part ish episodes from season 1 on Ryloth,
Sure.
where we had an episode basically without the Bad Batch and then a follow up with them dealing with the stuff from that episode.
That's a really good point, Cole.
And I will say, I think this is the first time that Star Wars has done like a hard diversion in one of its series to another story that I've felt like it was still, because I'm going to address that glaring double standard right now, right here, that like we like this even though the Bad Batch is not in that first episode at all. It still feels very related. And obviously the Ryloth stuff felt related in season 1 of Bad Batch, right? But it still feels like there is this whole undercurrent in this entire show to this point of the Bad Batch being like, well, we don't really know what we're doing. We're not fully in on this rebellion whole thing. We're just trying to make ends meet. We're just trying to stay alive, do what we can to help other people when we can, that sort of thing.
We're at a place when we can survive and, you know, Omega can not have to, you know, fight to live every day.
Right. But at the same time, they very clearly still care about the other clones because they're always using stun blasts. I mean, it's like it's still, this episode felt like a diversion, but was still very much within the framework and the themes of the show. And didn't just feel totally out of left field.
I think this is not at all a bin consistency because all of the clones are kind of the Bad Batch now.
Sure. That's a good
especially
point.
all of the ones that have dissenting opinions. Like, I think the Bad Batch is just the story of all of the clones after Order 66.
Yeah, it's
That's what it's
definitely
definitely becoming.
growing
it's-
into something
it's-
bigger.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't feel the same as Book of Boba Fett.
You're right. Yeah, that's the elephant in the room, right? Like
Yeah.
the Ronto
And-
in the room.
And I think another big part of that is Bad Batch being a 16-episode season show,
That too.
having a single episode not featuring the main cast isn't nearly as detrimental to the pacing and, you know, the overall story that's being told.
Very
as-
true.
And 1 episode out of 7.
Yeah, that's also very true.
It's
It's
a
not
way
really a
bigger
one-to-one
chunk.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that said, there's some action. I guess it's Ryo Chuchi. I always said Rio. I thought Rio was how they said it in Clone Wars.
That's like one of those things. I don't remember them ever saying it. I just remember
Super
Chuchi.
don't remember.
Okay, maybe
But I
I
thought the
just
same
read
thing. I
it.
was like, I've always said Rio, but I guess it's Rio.
Right? Yeah, I don't. It doesn't matter one
It's
way or the
Ryo
other.
now. Maybe she changed it.
Maybe she just decided she
Everyone's
wanted to
been
change
pronounced
it.
wrong forever, or maybe the Empire.
Yeah.
The Empire like printed it wrong.
Maybe people were pronouncing it wrong, and now she's more confident, so she's correcting people.
She should be. She's a badass. We
Yeah.
love her.
Yeah,
we
she's
stand Rio
awesome. I
Chuchi.
was
We
so
stand
happy to
her.
see her
We
again.
stand her on this podcast.
Yeah.
I liked her in her arc in Clone Wars, but now that
Mhm.
she is officially fighting the good fight and is like clones deserve rights like every other citizen, me
Yeah.
having read, in the midst of Republic Commando, I'm like, preach. You were absolutely right. They deserve rights.
Preach, but also be very careful.
Yeah, tread lightly. Yeah, because I was happy to see her. I feel like she was a really strong presence. It was nice to see Bail Organa show up in these episodes, who was, of course, being a good guy.
Senator Pomelo, I think.
Yes,
The
from
Rogue One.
Rogue One. Yes, the senator from
The senator
Terrace.
that like speaks up during the first session, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Who? I missed this.
They don't make a big deal out of it, but there's one of the other senators that speaks up in that first session is one of the senators from Rogue One.
What is their name?
Pomelo, I think.
Yeah, I'm getting you a link. You'll recognize
thank
her
you.
immediately.
I found them.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah.
It's
It's
cool.
one of those
It's like
things.
it's a cool thing. It's like, oh, that's nice that they're there and represented.
It was one of those things where I'm just like, I kind of had a Phantom Menace moment throughout this episode where I'm like, this is ostensibly a TV show for children. And we've got a Phantom Menace thing where they're talking about like tabling bills and like, voting on passing
This is some of the
legislation.
best politics Star Wars has ever done, I think.
Yeah.
No,
It's
I
super
agree.
good.
I agree. I thought it was great. And
Like, if
they're
all the Clone Wars episodes that deal with politics were this good, Clone Wars would be as good as people think it is.
Some of them are, Cole.
that is so raw.
Ooh.
Spicy.
I
take.
love that. Clone Wars would be as good as people think it is.
Senator Pomelo is also in Leia, Princess of Alderaan,
Oh, cool.
significantly,
come out?
which I did not remember.
That was 2018, or it had to have been. So yeah, that was post Rogue One. I don't remember that
Yeah.
either. I might
Yeah.
just not have not known her name.
It's just cool seeing
at the time, though.
these consistent characters showing up. So, oh
Right.
yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense that they're there.
Right.
It's really
they would
cool.
be there.
Yeah, the whole Senate stuff was great throughout that whole
Yeah.
first episode. And then there's just
What's the Kaminoan senator?
Bertoni.
Bertoni. Yeah, that was cool. Like bringing her back. Like, oh, that makes total
Yeah,
sense. To
I
bring her
wasn't
in here.
expecting that at all.
And her
either.
being like this, her scheming, terrible self. but
See,
also-
but it was framed so differently, because I don't like her at all in Clone Wars, but here I'm just
oh, you
like,
hate her.
Yeah,
you hate her,
now
but here
she's-
she's the senator for a dead world. I mean, there's
she's
no
right now.
Yeah.
she's right. So
Yeah.
I was shocked at how differently I felt about her. Like, yeah, she's still kind of a jerk, not very nice, but I feel like she's the circumstances are so different just over the course of like 5 years. Her people are basically gone,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So is she still in the Senate?
See, they said disgraced
sounded-
senator too. I think maybe
Yeah.
she could have been kicked. She could have been kicked out after she was part of that plot to kill
Mhm.
Anaconda Far, right?
She still has
Right.
some kind of status there, I guess,
Yeah.
because they
Because,
weren't gonna
like-
just dismiss her testimony.
Right.
Yeah, right. But like, if that hadn't happened, would she still be a senator since she has no one to represent?
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
Since they're all
Um,
dead.
And knowing
like, that's-
people in exile.
yeah.
Because you've
Mm.
got in Legends you have, I think, is it Threckenhorn? I know that those are two different people.
Mhm.
One of those characters is like the senator, the representative for like the conclave of the kind of
Alderaan.
symbolic
Okay,
people
yeah,
of
see,
Alderaan.
so that was where my question was going.
Mhm.
Like, does Alderaan still like? There's not a Senate at that point.
And she
but-
talks about the Kaminoans being like scattered throughout the galaxy, which I was like,
Yeah.
canon break, Legends break. Like Kaminoans are
Mhm.
insular; they would all probably rather die on Camino than go to another planet. Just stinking AWA bait is all they are. But anyway, it's more Republic Commando shining
Fine
through.
leather gloves.
Fine leather gloves. Sorry, Dakota, we're spoiling you a little bit, but it's all
no,
very vague.
Yeah, I don't. It's way too vague for me to follow.
Yeah.
So,
So anyway, she was a good a good addition. I really like Omega. She was so funny. Like whenever Bail Organa and Chuchi, they're walking and talking, and Chuchi's like, some associates of mine are working on getting the proof that with the hard proof we need. And Bail's like, well, how certain are you that they can get it done? Omega just goes, very. I'm like, you were the best character.
And
You're
Omega
so
gets
funny.
like this super serious moment when talking to the senator too.
Yeah.
where she's like, I'm a clone. My home was just destroyed and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, get it, girl.
No, I know she was great, and her obviously to jump ahead too far, her moment with Echo at the end was very sad.
oh, it hurt.
It was very sad because I was like, as soon as whoever it was, Hunter was like, "Take care of yourself, Echo." I was like, "What?" I too just got the rug ripped out from me. I'm like, I felt like Omega in that moment. I'm like, "What do you mean he's leaving?" What? But we'll get there. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
Oh man, yeah.
And Rampart's being just disgusting in the Senate too. In that first episode, he's just maybe
He's
a
just a smooth talker. Just
maybe a non-factor at this point now. But
yeah.
he
Turns out he's not the main bad guy that we thought he was.
Yeah,
he's
that was
awful.
shocking. I wonder, like, who's gonna just Crosshair? Like, I don't.
It can't just be Crosshair's too tenuous as a villain, if you ask me.
Yeah.
He's not hard. He's not a hard
But
sell.
like, who's he gonna work for now?
I guess theoretically they could just bring Tarkin in, especially since Tarkin likes to watch other people do work and then swoop in and say, "Oh, this is mine."
True.
So if now
that would be very fitting.
Now that, especially since it seems like, yet again, as we learn in the second episode, it seems like Palpatine might have orchestrated this whole thing knowing what was going to go down.
Or at the very least, like, had contingencies in place.
Had contingency,
like, hey,
yes.
no matter how this shakes out, I get this.
I get this, exactly.
I win.
He already...
Like, you played it, as good as you could have played it. That still turned it into my favor.
Right. And it's just like, we already know Tarkin's in the show. Since the whole Stormtrooper recruitment is going forward...
Yeah, it's probably. I bet you're right. It's just going to be his project now.
And it's like, it's one of those things. I don't feel like that's. I would like to see that, but I also don't think Rampart is completely out of the picture. It just seems like he's done nothing, right? He's really kind of done nothing. So unless he is just
he started kind of getting interesting after the beginning of this season. Whenever he killed the clone that was gonna not falsify the reports. Oh. Okay, there's definitely something a little bit more going on here, and then he's trying to cover for himself all these things, and then it just all falls apart immediately for him.
Now, regarding Rampart being a bad dude, I don't want to sound like a sociopath here, but I understand frequently that I'm watching a TV show. So when we watched the end of season 1 of Bad Batch, and they're base Delta Zero on Camino, like, take the whole thing out, get rid of it. I was like, oh my god, that's terrible. But like, that's a TV show. Our heroes are fine. Like, it's the Kaminoans, right? I've been predisposed to not like the Kaminoans now that I've read Republic Commando. So, it is what it is. There was something about contextually seeing Rampart, seeing that bombardment happen in front of these people who live in this galaxy and are, relying on their government to do right and trying to do best. A lot of them are trying to do the best for the galaxy. Seeing a blatant violation of rights, just mass murder. I can't imagine just like going to work and seeing that. You know what I mean? There's something about it hit me, and I'm just like, dear
basically a genocide
God.
unfolding before you.
Exactly. And I'm suddenly like, dear God, this is intense. This is messed up. These people are watching this, and Rampart did this? Arrest that man. You know what I mean?
And then,
like, grab him.
Like a freaking gargoyle. Here comes Palpatine. Like,
it's funny too, because the floor started to open. I'm like, oh, it's Palpatine. Oh no, it's Masameda. No, there he is.
it is Palpatine.
He's right under him.
And then he just pulls it just He's so smooth. He's like, I'm so disturbed to see all this, and then he's like, and the clones would do this. Makes me question whether or not we should be using them.
And
he's
did
like,
you
you monster?
did you
Yeah.
catch that it's Ian McDiarmid?
Sicko.
It's Ian
It is
McDiarmid.
Yeah.
So I was like, I heard it. I'm like, that doesn't sound like Sam Witwer. That sounds like Ian McDiarmid, and I needed to
Sure
be
wasn't.
certain. So I'm like screaming at the credits when they come up. I'm like, voice actors, voice actors, voice actors. I was so hyped because he is just the worst. He is the worst person any of us know, and yet I can't help but be kind of excited when he wins.
So excited. It's
And see-
so fun.
He's so far ahead of
delightfully
everybody at this
awful.
point.
He is. Well, and it's like Rex and Hunters, they all say the same thing where they're like, Omega's like, we did the right thing. And Hunter's like, yeah, we did. And he took the truth and twisted it in a way that was beneficial to him.
There's a quote from Jean-Luc Picard where it's like, it's possible to do all the right things and still lose. That's not, that's not a mistake. Like, that's just life.
Yeah, it's not an indictment of
you-
your conduct. They had this, I'll be real, I want to call out the action from the heist episode with the Venator.
Oh, so good.
I thought it was really good.
Mhm.
Rex was there, like, kind of moving. I guess we've already moved into Truth and Consequences, which is not the ship from the first Halo game. That's something else. That is the Truth and Reconciliation.
Truth and
as I-
reconciliation.
Yeah. Truth and Consequences. I thought the action was really good. I was happy to see Rex. Just it was, of course, and we're continuing the plot from the first one that we've already talked a lot about.
Well,
And just
Going back to the first one, the clone assassin. That's a
I
dark
hadn't even
thing.
I hadn't even did we find out it was a clone in the first episode?
That was the very well.
The
The climax
end-
of the first episode.
We did.
is the
You're
clone
right.
Chasing
You're right.
Rio, or
Yeah,
Ryo,
Ryo.
and then Rex saving her, and
Right.
then interrogating him, and then him committing suicide.
Well, see,
Yeah.
and I will say my first thought was, again, there's nothing to back this up canonically, but my first thought was, is this a Syntax clone? Is this clone not actually from Kamino? You know what I mean? Because they're like, because I wasn't quite sure what he meant when he said he's a believer. Like you're not going to get anything out of him. Like I don't,
Right?
I don't fully know what you
What
mean
is
by
this?
that.
I
I don't know
have-
what you mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a new clone? Why are you so willing to kill other clones? Because
I have no theories,
My-
no
my s-
idea.
My theory would be that it's a Mount Tantus clone.
right, and that Fetmatic said that in our Discord as well, that
Yeah.
that clone could have
I
come
like
from there.
that. I
And,
like
Yeah.
that.
and they're built just with straight programming, just to be absolutely loyal. Like they've got chips built in, turned on from
All the time.
get-go, and there's nothing else.
Maybe they have a little bit of Palpy DNA stuck in there, like Omega does.
And I thought also maybe it's the beginning of the Death Trooper program.
Maybe.
They're like
'Cause-
cybernetically augmented in some ways. Because the helmet definitely seemed like it was like part of him almost.
Yeah, there was something that was different about him. I think I think being a Mount Tantus clone is probably a pretty good guess why they would, but I'm still left wondering, why would they do that? They're moving into conscripts, right? Stormtroopers, so why are they still cloning? But we'll see. I don't know. I think that's probably it. Because I mean, I think we've learned you would be hard for us to find a clone. It's hard enough to find a clone who wants to follow your bogus Imperial orders. I think a very small percentage of them would actually turn their blasters on each other.
Mhm.
I don't think they'd do that.
I mean, we all watched the Umbar arc, right? We saw what they did to them.
Right. It was terrible. These are the same clones, and I think that's something that I sometimes struggled to reconcile, because a lot of times the regs in this show are kind of just rude and mean, which is not something we saw as much of. We saw kind of gruff soldier clones in Clone Wars, but not as much just like kind of rude to fellow clones. So I'm kind of like, are these still Order 66 clones? And then you have episodes like a few weeks ago with clones where it's like, no, they're still just following orders. They're just they're still the same clones. They still
Like
kind
Rex
of
says, more and more of them are starting to realize how bad it is.
yeah.
Mhm.
And we have, it's Cade that's the one's like was on the ship that
Right.
followed the orders to bombard Caminos. Like that was wrong. Like I know we were just following orders, but we complied and we're complicit in this. And then just goes outside and gets shot.
It's just so funny too that we have a that episode from a couple weeks ago that's just the Indiana Jones just like chasing an artifact that ends up going like nowhere from what I can see thus far to this like I won't say like super complex, but this like exploration of like, well, what is the clone's purpose after Order 66?
This is
After
incredibly like serious, mature take on all this stuff.
Yes. Which I don't know. I loved it. These are some of the best episodes of the series. Like, and so far, season 2 has had, I'd say, 3 of the best episodes in the series. I think this show's probably on a pretty good trajectory.
Yeah, I think I said it last time I was whatever the last episode, Crosshair Alone, whatever that was called.
Yeah.
I think I said like the first season I enjoyed it, but it didn't really like hook me. But this season fully, I'm all the way in on this show now. So I definitely agree with you.
Like I said, as soon as Caden Slip started talking, I'm like, I'm not looking away from this for the next 25 minutes. I'm going to watch this and only this.
You can just tell the tone is different immediately. And something else that reminded me of Republic Commando is that they're all this. It's like it looks like this clone-centric bar.
Yeah.
That they're all just hanging out at. I'm like, oh, this is so much like Republic Commando. It kind of hurts.
Yeah, and I will say that like Dakota, you've met Cal Scarata. Yes. Yeah, 000.
Rex like halfway through that book.
Okay.
So.
At one point I was talking to Cole before we started recording, and I'm like, Rex, at one point he was talking, and I'm like, you don't exactly sound like Cal Scarata, but you don't not sound like Cal Scarata right now. Like just whole like I'm trying to help the clones where I can. Anyone who wants out, I'm gonna help him get out. Like he is just all in on helping these clones. And I'm just like, I don't think it is necessarily a direct inspiration, but I would not be shocked if they had looked. Oh, because look at we saw Republic Commandos, like clone commandos, at the end of last season. Like they know they exist. I would be shocked if they didn't take some themes from those books and adapt them into Bad Batch.
Omega's name, Omega Squad.
Right. You might even go that deep.
We have some more fuel for the fire for the. Is Omega force sensitive?
No, that was teasing, is what that was. That's all that was.
Yeah,
just teasing.
Until I see the DNA map, I think she's got some splice DNA.
Man, they keep doing stuff, and I'm like, maybe there is something to it.
That's what I mean. To see, I'm
holding on because there's a chance that I'm right, and I will never let it go.
I won't. I mean, you know me. I've been there since day one. I've always thought she was force sensitive, and I think it's one of those things that it's like they're almost lampshading it at this point that everyone's gonna think she's force sensitive by saying, "Oh, the meditation."
That's really what it felt like in this episode is that they were lampshading it. Because she was like,
Gunji showed me how to meditate, but
for me, like it does Gunji. Ah.
Oh, I was living.
Yeah, me too.
I'm just like, you've got to be freaking kidding me right now. But that was a fun little moment, and her and Echo have really, I think, grown together a lot this season.
No, that's why it's so sad. They did that to us on purpose.
Yeah, the squad has shrunk yet again. Like,
and
we lost Crosshair. Now we lost our redundant character.
Exactly, and that might be why it happened.
I've talked about how Tech is not my favorite, but whenever they launched the escape pod and Tech's like, I was off by 6.7 meters, not my best, I did laugh. I'm like, that's pretty good.
And I was like, oh, this is paying off his pod racing episode.
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was
funny.
Yeah, Echo leaving it was a gut punch there at the end. I was legitimately so sad because Echo's not my favorite. I feel bad because Mogo has had to go to work and is no longer in the chat now that we're talking about Echo. But Echo's part of the Bad Batch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we didn't get that much time with Crosshair in the grand scheme of things. No. We've gotten a lot more time with Echo. So having Echo leave, especially after saying that I found where I fit, this squad is where I fit, and now he's like, but I mean, I get it. He at the end of the day, he's a reg. He was decanted with the regs. He was just a clone, right? He's just any other clone. He's gonna help them. The Bad Batch are already out for all intents and purposes. The rest of them are not.
Mm-hmm.
So I absolutely sympathize with him for going with Rex, especially he says it's not forever. So I'm hoping that ends up. being
the
true.
way they do the goodbye in this, I'm like, is something gonna happen to him?
Maybe.
I mean, he goes off with Rex in this, and then as far as we know, where Rex ends up, Echo's
He's not there. He's not there. Yeah.
Eh.
Uh,
There's gonna be, at the very best, bittersweet endings in this show.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this-
I think that Echo went off with Rex, not because we're not going to see Echo much anymore, but because we're going to see Rex a lot more.
Yeah, I think we're gonna start
that's
seeing
possible.
like split stories.
I think
know.
so too.
Well, plus, I look at
We already
I mean-
are with Crosshair.
well, and Cole, going back to what you said about bittersweet endings. I mean, look at Kenobi. We get the veteran clone who's got nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like at this point in time, the clones are still the primary fighting force for the Republic, like for the Empire. Like they are the frontline soldiers
Mm-hmm.
at this point in time. So yeah, something truly, they just must all get decommissioned at once. Whereas I think in Legends, clones kind of got phased out as they kind of aged out of. They didn't just at one point go, no more clones, get them all out, replace them with stormtroopers. Because I know there are a couple stories in the Star Wars Insider Fiction Collection. One is one that stands out to me, where there's someone who's fighting with Vader, like during the rebellion, who was a clone.
Or in Shadows of Endor.
Shadows of Endor.
We have Click, who's
Yep.
an original Django clone
Yeah.
post Return of the Jedi.
So I don't know. I don't think the show's gonna have a happy ending. And honestly,
No.
I don't think they'll all die. I mean, I don't necessarily think they all have to die, but I do think that it's gonna be. I'm kind of okay with it because the show has shown a willingness to be a little more serious and a little more thought provoking, or at least more willing to explore thought provoking questions. So having them continue on with that and end the show on what is going to undoubtedly be a high note, but a bittersweet high note at that, by all means, go for it.
I mean, my belief on the ending is the Bad Batch, they're going to rally the clones, what clones they can with Rex and such. And I think the Batch themselves will make some kind of grand sacrifice that will get a lot of clones free. But, the ones we know aren't going to make it.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
How that works out, I don't know exactly. Maybe it'll be something similar to what happens in the Hand of Thrawn duology, where we have the clones from Thrawn's campaign that are like in like sleeper cells and have kind of just gone native and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be something like that, where like they'll resettled throughout the galaxy and just live out their lives, and that's where Rex and Wolf and Gregor end up.
Well, and see, that's
Worked out some kind of truce where there's like the Empire knows they're there, but they're not going to mess with them as long as they stay out of things.
right. Well, and see, that's interesting too, where because they talk about the advanced aging as well in this. I don't necessarily think they're going to go as deep like they do in Republic Commando, where they're trying to fully stop that and get rid of that. But I think that that's going to be. I could see that coming up as a plot point for maybe the Empire being like, we don't even care. Like, we have completely decimated what Clone Rebellion they did try. We don't care if they're floating around out there in the galaxy. They're not going to do anything, and in 10 years, they will be completely unable to fight. And it will be just,
And maybe they have some kind of fail-safe weapon that can just, kill them. It's like, hey, if you come up against us, we'll just deploy this, nanovirus or whatever, and it'll just kill you instantly.
Was that it? No, I think that's just hard contact. I was gonna say, was that a thing in canon where they were trying to develop a clone virus? But that's literally
I don't think so, but you have the Blue Shadow virus.
Blue Shadow virus, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think I'm probably just thinking of Uthan and hard contact. And what again, Republic Commando. All the clone stuff starts to run together, honestly, especially when it's good. Like you just kind of am like, I could see this existing in the same universe as. Now, Cole maybe knows something I don't, but with what the current context I have, I could see this existing in the same universe as Republic Commando.
To me, this is like a very successful adaptation of like the themes and ideas that Republic Commando was dealing with.
Right.
It's like, dealing with it like in a 45-minute long episodes. It's like, oh, we're dealing with this stuff.
Yeah.
And you can't go as deep or as thorough as, a 5-book, 5 novels by, a military science fiction author, but you can still get to the heart of it. And they do.
They do. These were just
I'm
really
very
good episodes.
satisfied with what they're doing.
Really, really good episodes of TV. All in all, I'm very happy that this is the week we worked our schedule out and got to come back on because
Yeah,
Mhm.
me too.
needed to talk about these as soon as I was done because they were just so.
Yeah, I
so
watched them this
good.
afternoon. I was just like, oh, I'd already heard that they were great, but it's like, oh man, they nailed it. They got so good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a thing of beauty, really.
Truly.
I've just been.
Animation was fantastic.
It always
just, you
is. It just looks so good. They've just developed these virtual lenses or whatever they have now are just
Mhm.
immaculate.
I mean, looking at this versus the the Clone Wars movie from 2008, it's amazing seeing how far
Truly.
they've come. I mean, I'm still not the biggest fan of like the art style of like the characters. It's still something that I'm not crazy about,
Sure.
but as far as like fidelity of the animation, it is grown by leaps and bounds.
It is funny too because the characters still look like they did in the Clone Wars movie by and large. So it's funny they've still got this really cartoony art style, but now we almost have like these like high-end auteur camera lenses, like digital camera lenses looking at them, and it's like this weird cognitive dissonance of like, oh, you've got Panavision cameras looking at these cartoon men. What are you doing? Oh, I don't know. I don't mean that as a dig. I think it's very funny. The animation in this show has stood out to me. It's just some of the cinematography in the show has stood out to me since day one, since the first episode of the show.
And like on a plot and world building level, I thought it was interesting that they're trying to get this bill passed about the the creation of the new Imperial Army.
Mm-hmm.
Army already exists. They're already rolling it out. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like just trying to get it, get the paperwork stamped so that, they don't get in trouble about it, basically. It's like, it's really interesting. And that they're doing all this debate. They're like, well, what does the Emperor think about this? And then Masamune is just like, the Emperor is confident in his body to do what is right for the galaxy.
Well, the thing
What a
that
sicko.
the thing that gets me too is when you think about the fact, okay, one of the reasons, one of the forces of corruption in the galaxy, one of the prime things that stood out to a lot of people, and like to us as real world, people who have lived, looking at the Phantom Menace as like an analog for the United States government. There are corporations, the Trade Federation, the Banking Clan, and all the corporate alliance that have Senate seats. It's like, that's insane. That is just buck wild. Doesn't make any sense. Now we're in the Empire, which is supposedly there to bring order and justice and end corruption. They're still there. The
They
corporate
sure
alliance, the
are.
Banking Clan are still in the
Nothing
Senate.
has changed.
And you still have these like few good people who are trying to do what's right. But then you have Palpatine who comes up every once in a while. And I'm just like, of course they have to do what he says. Force influence or not, the dude is just terrifying.
He's
Of course-
terrifying. He's literally the Emperor. He can do whatever he wants.
He can do whatever he wants. He's doing it. He's placating these people by making them think the army is being voted on when, Cole, like you said, it's there.
It's already been done.
the
It's already
process
being
is
rolled out.
underway.
They're just trying to put the rubber stamp on it so that it's legal.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's letting them think that they have a say and that they have power, and then just like, no, you really don't. And we all know
we see it in A New Hope. He's like, the Emperor's dissolved the Senate. No longer need it. It's the formality of it is gone, and it lasts for longer than it probably should have, honestly.
Oh,
But
20 years, way long. We're 5 years in, and the thing is a complete waste. Like,
not
it's
even
a-
5 years in. We're like a
Oh,
year
you're right.
out.
You're right.
Maybe.
Really?
Yeah,
I
it's not.
definitely
It's,
thought we were a little farther. That's wild.
I think it's been like maybe 6 or 8 months since. the
yeah,
beginning
it
of the
hasn't been
show.
long. Because I mean, think
think.
about it. Omega's
Huh.
Omega's what 10, 11. If she doesn't have the accelerated aging, then
Mm-hmm.
if
I
she
mean, we
decants
definitely
around.
don't have like a calendar on it, but it hasn't been very long.
No, I think you're right. I was confusing it with maybe Kenobi.
Fallen
Solo?
Order is 5 years after. Kenobi's
Yeah, I was-
10 years after.
It might have been Fallen Order because I know I was thinking about timelines earlier. Anyway, doesn't matter. I was wrong. Very, very shortly after Order 66.
Yeah, the clone issue is being dealt with pretty
Yeah.
rapidly.
Right. Man, the Senate is like the kind of uselessness of the Senate is on display here, and I feel like that's a smaller a small, like, that's a great point, Cole. I'd never thought of that. Like, the fact they're voting on this thing, it's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
The
And we've already
context,
seen the stormtroopers. They already
Yeah.
exist.
yeah, the context clues are, or the clues are there. If you put it together, you can see, oh, the Senate is completely worthless.
But you see, on Coruscant, we only see clones.
Yeah. There are no other
The-
troopers.
The stormtroopers are out in the field doing the dirty work where they have to. Like they're subjugating separatist worlds that are being converted now.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's like, oh, but on Coruscant where people are seeing it, where where there's could be political strife. No, just we're still doing clones. It's still nice and clean. People trust the clones. We like the clones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's,
so
it's
true.
Dirty.
So
It's
wild.
dirty.
Nasty.
Oh, boy.
I was really surprised. I thought we were going to see Crosshair at some point in these episodes, but we didn't.
No,
They said,
I,
really didn't.
It seems obvious where the sniper is going to be Crosshair, but it's not.
Yeah. Well, the first time he missed, I was kind of like, is that maybe not
Like
Crosshair?
Crosshair doesn't miss.
Yeah.
that's funny. I don't know. He's still very much a wild card. I don't know where he's going to come down on all of this, just because it's becoming abundantly clear the Empire's phasing out clones even faster than I thought they were.
Mhm.
So, what's he gonna do at the end of the day? Is he
Mhm.
gonna see that he's being thrown out and they're not gonna keep him around? Especially now that, like, Rampart was his guy, right? Rampart was the one who saw some amount of value in him and maybe was trying to get rid of him, but couldn't and wasn't just gonna outright say you're gone.
Mhm.
Whoever
Yeah,
comes
now
in
Rampart's
now,
out of the picture. What does that leave Crosshair?
it could just
Yeah,
be-
that's
I
what
mean,
I'm so curious. Like,
Mhm.
If it's Tarkin's done. Tarkin is not on the clone game. He's not in the clone game
No.
anymore.
he never has been, I don't think.
No.
Like,
With
You're
Tarkin
right.
in charge, the best case scenario is he's just going to kill Crosshair.
uh-huh.
Probably send him to like Tantus to be dissected or something.
Ugh.
know?
Yeah,
Oof.
I don't know, man. It's no good. But
I'm so curious. Like, who are you gonna report to, friend?
It's not good. It's not good, whatever it is.
no. Well, are we ready to put a pin in this one? It's getting awful late.
I think we can do that.
Yeah.
Probably.
These were just words.
So interested to see where this is all going.
I am too.
Me
These were
too.
just
I
such
cannot wait.
It's gonna
And
be
we'll probably
bummer.
have to wait a little bit because I imagine we're gonna have some more like one-off adventures before we get
I
back
was
to
gonna
this
say.
super serious stuff.
I was gonna say it's gonna be a bummer when Sid's in the next episode.
Because I think D. Bradley Baker was teasing episode 12 as being like a heavy one.
Ooh.
So
This was episode 8, so we still have 9, 10, and 11 to get through.
yeah, exactly.
I say get through as though it's not good, and by the
And
time
then-
we hit,
the finale. I know we talked about it before, but one of the finale episodes is called The Summit, which I'm like, ooh, we're going to Mount Tantus.
We're going to Mount
We have
Tantus.
be.
Exciting.
We have to be.
we're going to
See,
Wayland.
I hear
with
that,
an
and I
E.
think that it means like a gathering, a
it might be both.
political gathering.
Mhm.
Yeah, true.
It very well might be both things. To me, it's like, oh, the Mount Tantus tease from last season. Oh, the mountain,
Yeah.
the mountain summit. It makes too
Yeah.
much sense.
That's a good
And-
point.
At Mount Tantus, we know there were Republic commandos.
Cole's holding it, crossing. Cole's like, cross my fingers.
Delta Squad,
Hope
Delta
so.
Squad, give it to us.
Are you gonna be okay if Delta's bad guys?
I mean, I can live with it.
You just want to see.
I can live
Deltas.
with it. I don't know. I don't know what hurts more if it's like we just see Scorch again and he doesn't talk or anything, or if we never see him again. It's like, well, why'd you put him in there? I feel like there has to be something.
You're right. It'd be very weird to just say done.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like a really lame Easter egg, but yeah, very curious to see where it goes.
Oh,
By the
it
time we
will.
get to that point, we will have Mandalorian going on as well. I don't even know how.
wow,
I don't even know.
Wow, that's so soon. That's less than a month
It
away.
is. It is.
Yes, it is.
I'm
Man, it means one day we're gonna have 3 episodes of Star Wars on one day, a Mando episode and 2 Bad Batch episodes for the finale. What a day that'll be!
That'll be a fun
Really-
podcast episode.
really glad I work from home. I don't know how I would get
I
through.
might take the day off.
Although Allison doesn't watch Bad Batch, she does watch The Mandalorian. So I think Bad Batch might be the morning thing. Mando, I'm gonna have to wait until she gets home in the afternoon. But it's fine. It's fine. I'll live. Who knows? By that point, Bad Batch might have eclipsed Mando in terms of my favorite Star Wars TV shows if it continues like this.
It is edging its way up the list of quality shows. I mean, these are some of the best episodes Star Wars animation has done, I think.
Yeah. I will say the only show that's fighting it. Yeah, in terms of animation, the only show that's fighting for a spot 4 is Rebels. And even then, Rebels was really good, and I felt like it's hard. To me, it's kind of like an apples and oranges thing.
Yeah.
But so it's hard to choose between the two. But I mean, Clone Wars, not really in the running. I'm sorry. Like,
well, I mean, there are episodes of Clone Wars that are in the running.
There are.
But I mean, I think this contends with those. Like these episodes.
Oh,
I think it contends with any of those.
For sure. If you could like tie this with like the Umbara episodes of Clone Wars, like you've got some just based on the Dakota, please.
Don't make me go there, please.
Don't. All right, this podcast is over. Cole, where can people find you on the internet? Where can people find you on the internet?
I'm at Mando Wraith on various social media platforms, wherever you want to find me, and I'm on Bro Skywalkers, where we're talking about Order 66. If you want more pain, more clone drama, it's right. If you loved this, or you might love Republic Commando.
Read Republic Commando. It doesn't start out this, but it turns into this real fast.
It turns into this, and it is fantastic, and I think you would love it. So
yeah, probably.
Do it.
Dakota, what about you?
Well, I am on Instagram at Deviation of the Endless. My Marvel Snap username is Endless Deviation. I would have some really great new reviews on skyhoppers.com or whatever our name is if Ben would stop ignoring my messages. And especially, I'm about to finish Slave Ship, and the review for that is going to be very spicy. So if that ever ends up on our website, you're going to want to see that. And that's pretty much it.
It will. Website just...
Oh, and real quick, I just also thought of this. If you want some book recommendations, email me at dhall@mybcpl.org. I would love to do that for you.
Wow. Putting out the work email. Yeah. This podcast, you can get patreon.com/skyhoppers podcast. You want to hang out in our live stream while we record these episodes. I think we lost some people because it got late here on the East Coast. So it's like dinner time on the West Coast, just late here on the East Coast. But we tweet that, or we don't tweet it. I don't tweet anything anymore. We post that in our we post the link to that in our Discord every week, every time we record. And I think we're getting
for
back
as little as $1 a month.
That's all it takes. Hang out in the Discord, talk about Bad Batch. Literally, we have people who watch it at midnight the second it drops, so you can talk about it literally as fast as you could watch it. And it's great. Just $1 a month. Patreon.com/Skyhoppers podcast. If you have questions, you want to talk about something, want us to talk about something on the show, you want to give some feedback, you can email us at skyhopperspodcast@gmail.com. Please, if you do that, however, CC GeorgeLucas@gmail.com. Or we might ignore your message. Probably not, but you never know. Why take the risk, right? Why take the risk?
If you're like me, your messages will be ignored.
The maker wants to know your comments as well.
It sounds like I'm gonna have to teach Dakota how to work WordPress. I think.
Yeah, that would help.
Yeah, I think it would. I'm a busy person, Dakota. I have a lot going on. Anyway, I think that's everything. So, since nobody has anything else to add, this is the Skyhoppers podcast signing off. My God. Hell of a recording.
A chunky one.
2.5 hours.
A very chunky boy. Damn.
2
hours and 30 minutes. Shoot.
Yeah, I don't know.
And what episode is this?
292.
292.
Wow.
No, this will be 293. It'll be 293. I just realized, because 292 I'm going to put out tomorrow is the episode, is the Obroa Skywalkers we did last week that I just haven't done.
Gotcha.
Work has been miserable. And Dakota, I apologize. That's why I haven't done anything on the website. Work has been
You're
miserable. So
okay.
the time that I spend at work, you know, the 15, 20 minutes I spend here and there, haven't been able to do on website and podcast stuff. So
I meant to show this off earlier. My newest Black series.
is that the Christmas?
It
Yeah,
is
the
Christmas Scout
the
Trooper.
Christmas Scout Trooper.
That's incredible, and I love it.
He has a Grogu knitted sweater on, and
What a magical miracle.
and the backpack has Grogu inside of it.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, real quick, I'm gonna take the stream down. So I'm glad everyone who's watching this got to see Cole's little dude there. But
I got him on discount at Walmart.
that's all you get to see.
Aw.
So goodbye until next week.
Bye, everybody.